It doesn't get much bigger than this. Arsenal versus Real Madrid in the Champions League quarterfinals. And we're taking our live watch along to Box Park Shoreditch on Tuesday, April the 8th.
Huge stakes, massive reactions and absolute pure chaos. Whether you're watching a Box Park or locking into our stream, you do not want to miss it. This could be a night for the history books.
For more information on this event, go to Box Park's website. Hi, welcome along to AFTV for the Starting 11 show. Do not miss that on Tuesday, the Box Park in Shoreditch, right? Massive watch party for that game. Arsenal versus Real Madrid. Absolutely huge. But park all that for the minute because we've got a game coming up today, 12:30 p.m. kickoff UK time. It's Everton versus Arsenal. Immediately, I know what you're asking. What are you doing here? What are you doing here, Robbie? You're supposed to be at the game. I'm not actually at the game today because I've got to do an event later on today in London. And that's, well, I've forgotten the name of the address of that. I've got to find out. Bet365 are doing that event. It's a big Champions League event with Sol Campbell's going to be down there, lots of other celebrities. So I've got to be at that. And if I went to Everton, I wouldn't get back in time, right? So the guys are up there holding the forearms, just chatting to them, lead judges, Cecil, they're all up in Everton getting ready for the game. But I'm joined today by Dan Potts and Laurie, and we're here to discuss the starting 11. And it will be an interesting starting 11 for this game today because, let's face it, one eye is definitely on that game against Real Madrid, Dan.
Yeah. It's mad, isn't it, that we've got to try and get through this one because there's a lot of people talking about that and they've skipped over this one. Do you know what I mean? Look, we're all looking forward to Tuesday, of course we are. But I think this is going to be a really interesting game, not for the fact of the result. I think a lot of people have accepted the league title might be a little bit too much now. I certainly have. But for me, the team news is going to be massive for this one because I don't know how deflated you both were, but I was, when Gabriel went down, I just thought, really? Like, how many more times are we going to get these hamstrings at the Arsenal? You know, the last time that a surgery was needed was Lucas Podolski in 2013. We've needed 3 in 1 year, man.
It's crazy.
That's absolutely mad, man. There's something going on here in terms of sports science or something, surely.
Yeah, I'm wondering if so, you know, we've been doing these interviews a lot on AFTV with that doctor. And he was sort of saying to me that when you get the surgery done, it comes back a lot stronger than if you just let it heal, because when it just heals, it's all scar tissue and that, and it can go again. Whereas if you get like what Saka's had done, where, you know, you have the actual surgery, you replace it, he goes, it actually comes back stronger than what it was before. So do you think they're maybe just looking at these things and saying, right, you know what, he's going to be out probably with the injury that he's got, he's going to be out till the end of the season anyway. Let's just get the surgery done and make him come back stronger. Or because there's always that risk of it going down again. I don't know. Or you don't sort of come back the same.
I think if it's in like Martinelli's situation, it wasn't so bad. It was hamstring, that can go any time. You get a couple of weeks, you're back again, right? But in terms of like Michael Owen's injury back then, the operation didn't exist back then. So technology's moved forward, right? From what we hear, those that have had it, they do come back stronger. Knees is a little bit different from what we hear. Yeah. Knees is a bad thing. You don't want to do your knees, right? You do never quite come back the same. But for me, I'm looking forward to seeing what sort of Saka we get, because I personally, all we got to do, Rob, is we all turn into doctors, don't we? Don't play him. We don't know. We ain't got a Scooby, right? All I can do is trust the fitness staff that they believe Saka's fit enough, right? I don't think he should start today. We'll come to that, I'm sure. But I do believe that when you look at these hamstrings, if they do come back stronger, then I don't have that much of a risk as some as the others. But the team news today is going to be massively, particularly at the back, because I ain't got a clue what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, that team news at the back is going to be interesting. And also, I'd like to find out, so I think you just said you don't think Saka should start today. Do you think Saka should start today?
No, I don't. I don't think he should start today. As you said, it's that elephant in the room. We've got that massive game on Tuesday, biggest game of Arsenal season, biggest game in years, you could argue. And Saka's obviously key part of the team. You wouldn't want anything to go wrong today. Can you just imagine if Saka starts today and something happens ahead of the game?
So do you play him at all today?
I would play him because you do need to give him some minutes.
So then he could come on later on and something.
Yeah,
like
that's also true. But I just think to start him. I mean, let's be honest. We're not going to win the title. Champions League football is pretty much assured for next season. I think this game, whilst it's an important game, you do have to be looking ahead to Tuesday. It just does make sense.
Yeah. What about this, right? Because you both just said you don't think Saka should start, right? But what about this? Again, I'm referencing the doctor. I'm nicking what he said, right? So he said that he does think Saka was... So this was before Saka even started, before Saka even came on in the game the other night. We were discussing it, and he said he reckons what they'll do is that if Saka is ready, which they were saying at the time, he reckons he'll come off the bench for the game the other night and play like a 20, 25 minutes, which is exactly what he did. And he goes, then he thinks then the next game they'll start him, but they won't play him the whole game. And his reason behind it was, it's that psychologically, you're saying to the player, you've started a game. So you've come in late in a game just to ease you back in. Now you've started a game, right? So now you're ready. So for the next game after that, you're ready. And I think that's the psychology around it. And that's why we could see him start today.
I mean, listen, I wouldn't want to second guess a medical expert. I'm nowhere near qualified to do that.
Yeah, I know.
In case you didn't know. However, to start him, I don't know.
What's the difference of starting him and him coming on later on? You know, if say he comes on for the second half, he's still going to be playing, isn't he? Something could still happen.
But then you could have applied that to the Fulham game.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I think the Fulham game, it makes sense to ease him in, innit? It's the first game.
No, but he's still in the easing in process. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, I know, but this is the second stage of it. Start him in the game and then get him off after. You see a lot of times where they say it's pre-planned. You even see a player might even just have one half. And everyone's like, why did he only play one half? He's doing all right. And they go, the manager might come out after the game and say it was a pre-planned thing. But that's the psychology around it. I mean, what do you think?
Logic tells me that the risk is too great.
Of what?
Of him getting injured or something.
So
I mean, you saw the way Tarkowski ploughed into my man the other
so
day.
it's too great to bring him on later on then?
It's less of a risk to
How?
bring him on. Because by that time, other players in the game will be a bit more tired. The game would slow down a bit. You know what I mean? Things like that. I think if you put him in at the intensity of battle straight away, it's more likely for something to happen.
He looked sharp the other night when he came on.
Yeah, of course he did. He's ready to go.
Personally, I'd start him. I would start him. I'm like, put him in from the start. Like,
would you have said that before the doctor had that conversation with him?
I might have done, yeah. Because to me, right, I want him ready for that game on Tuesday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, and how are you going to get ready if you're just like ducking?
I'm not saying treating
if
with
you're just like
gloves.
little bit there, then you go right in, because that game on Tuesday is going to be intense from the start. So we need to get him into that intense mode as well.
So I would
not just coming on when all the players are tired.
I'd probably be more tempted to do similarly to what he did against Fulham, because I thought that was a good cameo. Maybe you give him a bit longer. Maybe you look at 55 to 60 minutes, you bring him on, give him that full half hour, and then he's ready to start against Real Madrid. Or if you are going to start him, which wouldn't surprise me if Mikel Arteta does, by the way, if we start him, I don't really want him playing like past the 60-minute mark.
No.
Because that might just be a bit too much. If you're going to give him a full 90 minutes now,
No.
Could he do that again on Tuesday? That's my big question mark. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he started him today, if I'm honest. But, you know.
You spoke about the back, Dan, right? And you know, we're going to get to find out what the team is very soon. We're keeping an eye to find out when it comes back. But at the back, it is going to be interesting. Timber, they reckon it's a knock, so he could be all right to play. But I don't know if I'd play him. Ben White is in contention. I think they were doing a late fitness test on him. Kivior, you know, what would your back four be?
I don't like this back four I'm about to say, but I think we're a bit stuffed, if I'm honest, at the moment, ain't we? I don't want to see Timber and White today, because I don't think that they're quite 100%, right? I'd rather have them for the Tuesday. I hate this so much, and I can't believe I'm going to say it, but I think I would probably allow Thomas Partey to play at right back just for today.
The Partey
I can't
right
stand
back
him
situation.
playing there. I hate it, but I'd rather him play today than Tuesday against Vinny. So for me, Partey, Saliba, Kivior, Miles Lewis-Skelly. I think that's probably what the back four will be today and should be today. Now, you could say that if Ben White and Timber are 100%, then Ben White plays for me. Because Timber's the one I think that does need the rest. Ben White's just coming back into it. He's had his layoff, right? Timber, I couldn't believe he still was on the other night. I mean, he was knocked, he's on the floor. I'm thinking, come on, man, get this guy off. He looks like he's done out here, yeah? So Timber, I would say for the Tuesday, because I think we're going to need him. If Ben White's fit, I play him at right back. Otherwise, you're going to have to bring Jorginho in and put Partey at right back, which I'm not a fan of, but I don't think we've got much choice, Rob.
Okay, our social team, they've been very good over the past couple of months, right? You know what I mean? They've been getting these little early plugs, right? This is what they're saying. These are the players that they say there's going to be multiple changes today.
Okay.
Right? White is coming in, Kivior, Jorginho, Trossard, Sterling as well, and Nwaneri. That suggests that Saka won't start. These are some of the changes. Marino dropping into midfield, we're hearing as well. So it's going to be a very interesting lineup. This is looking like a lot of changes for this game today. This is according to our social team. As I say to them every week, you get it wrong, you're out. Right? Because you just embarrass me. But no, you know what? To be fair to them, right? They've been making some great, drops on these things. That's what they're saying. I think we know the team in a few minutes' time. If all those changes are happening, you happy with that?
Yeah, I mean, we did a starting 11 show on AFTV earlier in the week, and we did talk about the strong possibility of Partey being in at right back to alleviate the injuries. It's not the best, but listen, he has done it before, and he's played well there on occasion, so I can understand it. Obviously, Kivior coming in, he's a... how can I put it? I mean, he's not had the best of times, but he is a left-sided centre-back. So it's more or less, I wouldn't say it's seamless transition, but you know what I'm saying? It's more of a like-for-like. So, yeah, I'm happy with that back four.
It's crazy, isn't it, with Calafiori? He would have been the player. I remember pre-season over in America, and when he was being asked, Mikel Arteta, about what was there the day when they announced Calafiori, and Calafiori came out. And in that press conference afterwards, he was being asked, Arteta, why Calafiori? And he said, because he can cover multiple positions at the back. He can play as a left-sided centre-back, and he can play as a left-back. And he spoke about how they got lucky. Mikel Arteta said, we got lucky the previous season because Gabriel and Saliba were injury-free. Now the guy that you brought in to cover those areas is out as well. He's out. So is Gabriel. I mean, it's a really big blow.
Massive blow. And if I'm honest, we're going into the Real Madrid game with no defence and no strikers. So it's not good, is it, when you've got to try and keep a clean sheet and make sure you win the game. But look, if those changes are right, and that is true, I actually am okay with that. I don't want to see Partey at right back. I'm just assuming that's what he'll do because obviously we've got some injuries. If it is Ben White comes in, I actually prefer that to Partey, right? Sterling's a very interesting call because I haven't seen him for a while and he hasn't been particularly good when he has showed some performances at Arsenal of late. He's got a big game for him. That means and would suggest that Saka's going to be rested. And if Marino and Jorginho are going into midfield, it would suggest that perhaps Rice or Partey might not be alongside them either. So perhaps they're resting them for the Real Madrid game. So I think he's got massive eye on that Tuesday night. And I think he knows that we need everybody fit, as many as possible now, to try and have a chance for that one.
It tells you a lot about his thinking, innit?
100%.
You know what I mean? He's basically, if all those changes are going to happen, he's basically saying the league is done.
Write-off.
The league's done.
Yeah, well, the league was done when we lost to West Ham.
No, we know that, but I'm saying you're seeing the proof of it now. There's no way if the league was still on, he'd be making all these changes, would he? If these changes
on that,
are going to happen.
You said Mourinho's dropping back into midfield. So who's leading the line today?
Right, hold on. Got the team. So let's give you the team as we see. This is the team that's going to be playing against Everton today at Goodison Park. Last Arsenal game at Goodison Park, by the way. In goal, David Raya. Ben White does come in. Saliba, Kivior and Lewis Skelly. So it's Ben White at right back. Good to see him back. Right, the midfield is Jorginho, Mourinho, and Declan Rice. Right, that is the midfield. And up front is Nwaneri, Sterling, and Trossard. So Saka's not in from the start.
No Odegaard.
Odegaard's not in from the start as well. Yeah, very interesting team indeed. What do you make of that immediately?
I mean, the midfield three is... where's the creativity there? Where's the creative midfielder? We've got Jorginho, we've got Rice, and we've got Marino. So is Marino going to play in that attack advance role? The Odegaard role?
Probably.
Looks like it. I know he's been playing advanced. Well, he's been playing more than advanced for us. He's been our striker, hasn't he? And to be fair to him, he's actually got 5 in 8. I mean, that's what Kai Havertz was doing. Defence to him. Sterling on the left, we think. Trossard through the middle, and then Ranieri on the right.
Probably,
is that what it's looking like?
Looking like that.
So yeah, they've all got chances. This is where Trossard, Sterling, not so much Ethan because he's a kid, but they've got to actually take their chance now. You know, if they've got any eyes on Tuesday themselves, if Sterling's got any pride of his own, he's been a poor signing for us. He's got a chance, and you can't say that he hasn't been given it tonight. So today, sorry. So for me, that's going to be interesting how that works, man. Particularly in midfield as well.
Let me give you the bench, Laurie. It's Neto, Timber, Tierney, Zinchenko, Partey, Gower, Odegaard, Martinelli, and Saka. That's a very strong bench. Yeah. Obviously, lots of players rested there. You guys, you're right. He's not gone with Saka from the start. But Martinelli, Saka, Odegaard, Partey, he's obviously looking after him, and Timber. So he's obviously looking after all of those players because he knows he's got the big one on Tuesday.
I must say, I am curious as to why Odegaard's been rested.
I think, if I'm honest with you, bro, I think he's dropped. His performances have been so bad. He's been stinking out the gaff, bless him. He's been trying, but I think maybe he does need to look at his performances, and maybe it's best just to see him out of this one. It is a strange
but
in terms
dropped
of,
on the eve of a...
Yeah, I mean, when
I don't know about drop. He wants it fresh, don't he?
I mean, what he could do, actually, thinking about it here, what he could do is he could actually have Marino through the middle here, and then have Trossard and Sterling either side, and Ranieri in the Odegaard role. That's what I would do.
Could be.
That's
could
what
be
it
that.
could be.
Could be that. Big up to Suja, the super chat. He says, "Big up, Robbie,
Suja.
Dan, and Laurie. If we are not risking Saka, would you leave Saliba on the bench in preparation for Madrid? We can't afford him to go as well. Well, he's actually.
Ain't got anyone else, have we?
Yeah, ain't no one else. He's actually playing. We've got, you know what? How many centre backs and defenders we've got, and even that's down to the bare bones. Could have played possibly Kieran Tierney there.
Yeah.
But maybe he will come on later. Interestingly, Kivior, he starts. Does that suggest to you that he's going to play on Tuesday? Or do you reckon if Ben White is fit, right, and I know I shouldn't be skipping over this game, but if Ben White comes through today, comes through it well, that maybe he then says, right, Ben White right back, Timber, Saliba, Lewis Skelly, because...
That's what I'd do.
Timber, obviously, he's played a centre-back, he plays there for the Netherlands in a free, he's very good, a very strong player in that position. That might be, what he's looking at for Tuesday. What do you reckon?
It's interesting because I was very keen to note that during his press conference when he was asked about Kivior, the manager, was waxing lyrical about Kivior, as you would expect him to do as a manager. But he used a term that some Arsenal fans might have found somewhat surprising. He described him as, quote, reliable. Now, I wouldn't have thought he's the most reliable, but that seemed to suggest to me that he was maybe saying that with an eye to giving him run-outs, with an eye to him playing against Madrid on Tuesday. Because, like I said, he's a left-sided centre-back.
Yeah. I think he's going to be one of those players today that's sort of under scrutiny from the manager, where the manager's saying, right, go and show me what you... Because they're going to have a hard time today because you're up against Beto, right? And we know, all right, it's a lone striker up front, but I saw him, Beto, on Tuesday in the first half of that game against Liverpool. He gave Van Dijk the runaround. And not many players do that, but he had Van Dijk and Konate all over the place, right? So it's going to be a big test for Kivior today. If he comes through it, maybe he gets the shout for Tuesday. If he doesn't come through it, it could be Timber. And as I said, the other player that's going to be really, where they'll be really looking at and see how he comes through, it's Ben White. He's looked a little bit off the pace since he's come back from his injury, hasn't he?
He has. They're the two players that I'm going to be looking at tonight. I think Ben White and Timber for me would be who my preference would be starting on Tuesday. I actually prefer Kieran Tierney in the left-sided centre-back role than Kivior. I think
Really?
Kivior,
Wow.
Kivior for me, bless him. He's trying to give his all, man, but he's got a mistake in him, innit?
Yeah.
You look at it, I think when he was playing last season, he was consistently playing at left-back, and then he started to get those kind of mistakes in him, and then he quickly got chucked out. I think Sane absolutely rinsed him at the Emirates, didn't he? I think he made a couple of mistakes at Fulham. He got done by Raul Jimenez at Fulham this season as well, if you remember.
Yeah.
And then the other night, I mean, he wasn't too bad when he come on, but it looked a bit shaky. If I'm
Which
honest,
is why when the manager used that term reliable, I kind of
let's be fair to him. Remember when he stepped in last year playing at left back and that, he had a few ricks at first and then he did all right. He actually did all right in that left back position.
I think, though, you're right, Rob. I think, for me, Ben White right back, Timber right-sided centre-back, put Saliba left-sided centre-back where he plays for France, and then Mars Lewis-Skelly. That's what I'd do against Real Madrid on Tuesday, because I just feel like all of those, individually, one-on-one defending are better than Kivior.
But you say that, but some people have said that Saliba playing for France has not been always at his best.
No,
Maybe
but
that's
if you
why.
watch the last couple
No,
of
hold
games...
on. Maybe that is why he's not been at his best for France, because he's playing slightly out of position, but because his favoured position is on the right hand.
No, but if you watch his last couple of games, they've been excellent. I watched the game when they played against Croatia. He was the best defender. You know what I mean? Playing in that left centre-back position.
I think he can play either side.
He can play either side. Getting into some of the comments, Gunas Arena says, good team, good management by Arteta to rest important players. And he says, waiting haters with an agenda to complain why Partey's not playing. He's obviously been rested. A very important player. And I thought he had a great game the other night against Fulham. Very important player for that game against Real Madrid. They just do not want to see a player like that pick up a knock.
No, he's been...
Arteta's obviously very fearful of a game like this today. It's the worst game, isn't it?
I know.
Everton are a very physical side, and like I said earlier, anyone who saw that tackle from Tarkowski the other day,
Dude.
Mikel Arteta was probably watching that thinking,
How was that not a red, by the way? That was unbelievable,
That was
wasn't
ridiculous.
it? But I've got to say, I think we know what we're going to get from Everton today. I think we know. He's going to low block it. David Moyes is going to try and stink it out. We know he's going to try and school Mikel Arteta. He did that against West Ham, against us as best that he could, right? And we got the better of him sometimes he got the better of us. I think for me, when you look at what David Moyes has done at Everton, I think he's quite an underrated manager, I mean, I wouldn't want him at the Arsenal before everyone gets carried away, but I look at what he did at West Ham, won him a trophy for the first time in 43 years, got them consistently playing in Europe. Funnily enough, the last team he did that with was Everton last time, right? Now he's gone back there. Now, I'm not saying he's going to go and get them European football again, but who knows? I think they've been so much better since he's come back.
They've
They've
been a
very
different
hard
team.
to beat, so this will be a tough game, Rob.
I remember we only drew nil with them this season. We couldn't get past that low block when they came to the Emirates, and also last year we won there 1-0. But it's over the years been a very difficult place to go to. By the way, and this has resonated with you, Dan. I know you was very good friends with him, just like I was. Kevin Campbell, who sadly passed away, Arsenal legend, also Everton legend. On the 9th minute today, I remember this is the last Arsenal versus Everton game at Goodison Park. On the 9th minute, there's going to be, everybody's being encouraged to clap and to sing his name. So that's a lovely touch by Everton. And I'm sure that's going to be very emotional. I remember when I was talking to Lee, he said, that's going to be emotional being at the game. Lee was very close to him as well. But yeah, on the 9th minute today, obviously the big number 9, Kev, was, there's going to be singing and applause and everything from all of the fans inside the stadium, and that's going to be quite some moment.
Great. That'd be great to see. And do you know what? Both clubs, class from both of them. Everton and Arsenal have been, since the news broke, they've both been absolute class, man. Arsenal and Everton. Superb in terms of what they've done tribute-wise. To still do it now, you normally get, when you get a sad passing, you get the one thing. There's been 4 or 5 things that have been from both of these clubs. Absolute top draw, top class.
Where do you think, what do you think the front three is going to be?
I think the front three actually will be Marino, Trossard and Sterling, thinking about it. And then I think Nwaneri will drop into that kind of Ødegaard role with Rice and Marino and Jorginho. That's what I think it will be. So Jorginho will play where Partey usually does. Rice will keep to his position. And then Nwaneri will come in instead of Ødegaard. So yeah, Sterling left, and then Trossard, and then Marino.
Okay, let me by the way give you the Everton team. This is the Everton team that's playing today. Pickford in goal, O'Brien, Tarkowski, the captain. Right, all eyes will be on him. He's very lucky to be playing in this game. I mean, Branthwaite, Patterson, Garner Gay, Iragron, I can never pronounce that name properly. Decore, Harrison, Ndiaye's back, and Beto, who was very, very good the other night. That is their starting 11. We know they're physical, we know they're strong, and we know they're improving. Well, not just improving, they've been good under David Moyes.
Yeah, they're definitely picked up. And it's interesting, I was looking at Everton's stats the other day. They've only conceded 37 goals this season, which is, there's only 4 teams in the Premier League that have conceded less than them. So, as you guys both said, they are going to be difficult to break down, and they will make things difficult for Arsenal. I think today, as well, is a big game for Sterling. I mean, the last time he played in an Arsenal shirt, he was actually man of the match, but it was a few weeks ago against PSV, not the best team. So yeah, today is a massive game for Sterling today, and I hope that he show improves.
And Arteta will want to win today. You know what I mean? Despite all the changes, like you said, it's an opportunity for all these players to step up. You know what I mean? Arsenal's away record this season has been really, really good. Despite the fact that we know we're not going to win the league, but they've been really, really good. They want to keep that going, don't they?
Absolutely. Momentum's key in football, right? And we want to make sure that, the last thing we need is a loss before Tuesday night. So for me, we've got to be going out. And I think we can win, Rob. Look at the Everton side there. They've got some definite threats, but so have we. Yeah, we don't look at the Arsenal side there, although we've heavily rotated and think, that's a dreadful side that couldn't stay up into the Premier League, right? So you've got to be realistic there. I think Beto will be a problem. I think Ndiaye is a very good player. I think he's been a little bit quieter of late, but he's a definite threat for sure. They can control their midfield. Garner Gay's been a great player for them for the last few years, hasn't he? He's been very, very consistent in there, and Decore is always a threat. But I think with Arsenal, Ethan Nwaneri, I'll be interested to see what he does today, because he's had a few quieter games and you can't get on the kid's back, because at 17 years old he's been phenomenal for what he's done. But I think when you look at his positioning today, I think it'll be interesting to see where his natural kind of number 10 comes back into it, if that is of course where he's going to be playing, because we've seen him a lot from the right hand side and he's been brilliant cover for Saka in my opinion, to be fair. But I think today this could be a really interesting game for him.
I'd love to see him in that Odegaard position, just to see, I mean, we know he's been playing, I think he's been very good playing on that right hand side. But if he plays on that right hand side, then where's Sterling? Sterling,
I think if he plays in the right, I think Sterling will go left, and then Trossard will be up top with Marino.
Yeah, that's probably more.
Or I don't know. You could see Marino through the middle as he has been, Trossard on the left, Sterling right, and then Ethan in the middle of the 10.
Yeah, you have to big up Mikel Marino. He's been scoring goals, important goals. He scored against Fulham. He scored against Chelsea.
Is it 5 or 6 goals he's got in the Premier League?
5 and 8.
Yeah, he's got more goals this season than Rasmus Højlund. I think he's got 6 goals this season in the Premier League. That's more goals than Rasmus Højlund and Xerxes put together. I mean, we know he's not a striker in that, but he's been doing a decent job, hasn't he? He's been, more than decent.
I think what it is with Marino, you can see he's a very intelligent footballer. He's not the quickest, he's not the strongest, but he takes up good positions and he's a good technical footballer, and that will explain why he's had success in that role. So yeah, you have got to give him props for that.
I think so. I think none of us were a fan of it, were we? Auxiliary striker. People were comparing him to a Fellaini type player of old. I think, to be fair, if you ask someone to come in and do a job there, if he's not your backup striker and not even your third choice backup striker, I think you look at it now and think, do you know what? Fair play to him.
Done a good job.
He's come in and he's
big goals as well, match-winning goals.
Listen, not only
match-winning goals against Leicester, match-winning goal against Chelsea. First goal the other night, when you're playing against a team like Fulham, you know how hard they are to break down. That first goal is all important. He's really been coming up with some big moments.
One thing I will say is I don't think we've missed Kai Havertz, and that's compliments to him, to be honest, because I don't look at him and go, we're missing this from Kai, or we're missing X, Y, and Z from Kai. I think aerially he's good. I think physically he's good. He's become a focal point and a bit of a target man at times for us as well when you see the Leicester goals. And I actually think his finishing's been quite underrated in that position. So fair play to him, man.
Yeah, here's a stat for you guys. Only Liverpool, 17 games, are on a longer unbeaten run away from home in the Premier League than Arsenal. Arsenal, they're on a 10-game streak, 4 wins, 5 draws, and that's been since the start of 2024. The Gunners have picked up more away points in the competition than any other side, 52, and have conceded fewer goals than any other side on their travels, 16. So it's got a good away record, Arsenal. But this is a tough one today with so many changes.
It is, and it is. And like I said, Everton, you know, they will make it difficult for us. Like I said, they don't concede many, but crucially, they don't score many either. They've got -5 goal difference because they've only scored 32 goals this season. And we spoke about Beto. Yes, he's a handful, but with respect, he's not a prolific goal scorer. They struggle to score goals.
Looked a different player on the Moyes, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he has, to be fair.
He should have scored the other night as well.
He should have scored.
He?
Yeah, he should have scored. For all his marauding physicality, he didn't score when he should have done. He had a couple of opportunities. You know, there was one where he was put clean through and he hit the post when really should be scoring from there. So, listen, that gives me confidence to suggest that Arsenal can get a win today. I'm looking at there's some quality players still. Yes, we've got injuries. Yes, we've got players that need to produce performances, but there's enough talent there. And let's not forget, as Robbie said, the bench is strong, so that gives me confidence.
Okay, this guy here, Moby Lope, he says, "Stop it, Dan. We've definitely missed Havertz." Right?
What do we miss from Havertz? What do we miss from Kai? That's what I'd love to ask. Because as much as it's the obvious of goal scoring, well, we've just been bigging up Marino. 5 in 8 isn't what Kai Havertz, did he do that? Don't even know if he did.
He's got 9 goals.
Man.
He's got 9, by the way.
He's got 9, but he's got 5 in 8.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
so
the ratio
he's got 9.
is
Marino's
with
played
Marino.
8 and he's got 5 goals. So look, you might. I'm not slating Kai by any means. I'm trying to compliment Mikel Marino. I think Kai Havertz has got a place in this squad in the future, right? I don't think he's a starter. We all want a different number 9. I think we've got to put respect on what Marino has actually done. I don't think he's done a horrendously bad job. I don't look at it and go, "Cock, he's awful. Get him off of that position, crikey." I haven't done that yet. I haven't expected wonders. I haven't expected miracles. 5 goals in 8. You take that, wouldn't you?
Yeah. RS says, hopefully Ethan is in the number 10. Jalen Spence says, if we signed a striker in January and he did Marino's numbers, there would be no crying about the window.
That's a great point.
It's actually...
It's a great point, though, isn't it? None of us want it. We all wanted a striker, right? Yeah. And we do still need a striker, and we should have got one in January. But I think when people are saying, "Oh, we missed Kai, we need this Marino binned out quick and get this Kai back in," I haven't seen a massive upgrade at all, a downgrade, at all from Kai.
And let's be honest as well, a striker, more than any other position in a team, is judged by numbers. You always look at a striker and say, well, how many goals he got? And like you said, Dan, he's got 5 in 9, whatever, so... That speaks for itself.
Is it DJ2's not happy? He says, it's amazing. Sterling starting over Martinelli. Wow. Get this rookie manager out, he says. Right? Last season when Trossard was firing, he dropped him for Jesus, who just returned from an ACL and was out of form. Listen, it's quite obvious today, right? Because Martinelli was brilliant the other night. But it's quite obviously today that he's been rested because he's got an eye on that game on Tuesday. I don't think there's anything wrong with... It's not like Martinelli's been dropped. He's rested. You want him up, firing. You want him electric like what he was the other night. Because I thought he was my man in the match the other night, Martinelli. He was electric. That was the Martinelli that we all love.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there was a moment in that first half, that kind of Sunday's game, and we was all watching it closely. Remember when he picked up the ball? It was early on in the first half as well. He faced up the defender. He did the little shimmy, and some people was wondering whether he was going to do what he's been doing a lot recently and check back and pass. This time, he pushed the ball apart and went past the guy. And from the minute he did that, you could see the confidence rise exponentially.
There was intent, wasn't there?
There was no mug. That was Castanes, not a bad
and that's defender. What we've been, and that's what we've been calling for Martinelli, to be more aggressive, to be more dynamic, be that explosive.
In the second half as well, he put him on his backside, didn't he?
Yeah.
Stunned him, nutsed him.
But I would suggest that it all stemmed from that moment in the first half when he done the guy. Exactly. And I agree with you, Robbie. He definitely has been rested because he was man of the match.
Yeah. He-Man says Paxiao left wing, Cunha left 8 in, and Gyökeres all realistic.
Yeah.
What have you made of these Gyökeres rumours, Dan? Because EK, he's put Sesko and then he's got a cross. And he's put Gyökeres with a tick. Right?
Yeah.
So he wants. But what have you made of those rumours? There's rumours that Berto has been talking to his representatives. Berto would love to bring Gyökeres in. Would you be happy with that?
I think it'd be a phenomenal signing. I really like this link. I really like this room. The thing is, Rob, you're going to get this when you get an appointment like Andrea Berta. You're now going to be linked with everyone, right? That's just realistic. You're going to do.
He has got a record for signing strikers, hasn't he?
He's got a very good record, mate. And I'm massively excited by this appointment. I think I'll go down, and I don't mind saying it. And I might jump the gun, and you can click me up if you want. I think this will go down as being the best appointment in the Kroenkes era, in the Kroenkes reign. I think he is exceptionally good, Andrea Berta. And I think you'll see why. And I hope in the summer now we start to see it. And if we don't see that, you'll know there's more of a problem because he's not been an issue before, right? So I think the Gyökeres signing would be phenomenal. And after Isak, he's my number one. I think Isak's unobtainable, if I'm honest.
Yeah. It's talk that they're trying to get him to sign a new contract extension right now.
Yeah.
And they've got a good chance of getting it. I think, listen, Newcastle getting Champions League is definitely over.
Winning a trophy as well, I think that's kept him there for him and Bruno probably for at least another year. Tonali as well. And Newcastle could have a good year next year if they keep them. But for me, I think Gyökeres, look, people don't like it because of what he's done in Portugal, right? Well, he started in the Championship, which people laugh at, but actually it's a very competitive league and a very physical league, and he absolutely flew there, which then got him the move to Sporting Lisbon. He got 50 goals in 58 games, and then this season his stats are absolutely ridiculous. He's now doing it for the Champions League, and for his club and country. I don't think that's a bad signing at all. If you look at the European strikers at the top elite level, he, for me, right now, is one of the ones that you're looking at thinking, wow, he's scoring goals. Sesko, I think, is potentially a project one-on-one for the future of being 21. This guy's 26 years old and he's been banging for the last few years. So for me, it's an absolutely brilliant signing. The other names you mentioned on the list are being linked as well.
Yeah.
But
Moby Joe says Osimhen is clear of both. Osimhen's also been banging in the goals. His goals are going to take Galatasaray to the title over there. He's been on loan. He's been on fire there. Osimhen or Gyökeres for you?
Gyökeres for me.
Yeah.
I'm not. Me and you have had this conversation several times. I'm not Osimhen's biggest fan.
His goal scoring records.
No, yeah, he's a good player, but I'm just saying from an Arsenal perspective.
Why don't you
who would
like Osimhen?
I've seen. Maybe it's visceral. So every time I've seen that guy play, I've been underwhelmed by his performances. Yes, he scored goals, but
less to his all-round game.
Whereas when I saw Gyökeres, I'll tell you when I first took note of Gyökeres is back when he was playing for Coventry and they played Luton in the playoff final. As you know, I do like to keep up with Luton's performances. So he played in that playoff final and he was easily the best player on the pitch. And I remember thinking, wow, this guy's a good player. Mm-hmm. Then, of course, he went over to Portugal, banging the goals in. And listen, like you, Dan, and like you, Robbie, Isak would have been my first choice. But if we can't get Isak, Gyökeres makes a lot of sense. He'll actually be a lot cheaper than Isak as well, and I think he could do.
I reckon it could be about 60 million now.
That's
for
a
bit of a price drop.
And to go back to what you were saying about Berta, he does come with very impressive credentials. Mm-hmm. The one thing I would say about that, though, is he's only going to be as good as he is supported by the likes of the Kroenkes.
That's my question.
So you can have all these credentials, you can talk about who he signed in the past. If he's not backed by the board, then...
Okay, I've got a question for you both on it, right? Clara Bitzi, our resident... well, she's a Chelsea fan, right? Right. Says, Robbie, when is Jesus outscoring Erling Haaland? I think when Nicholas Jackson outscores him, that's when. She gets a little one win, she appears in there. Big her up still.
Did you say that then, did it?
Big her up still. There's a video where I said that that particular is when Erling Haaland was just coming in.
Oh yeah.
And I was saying because
and
Jesus.
We just signed Jesus.
No, we had Jesus already. So I was like, Jesus is going to play more games. So I got that horribly wrong.
The less said about that one.
Horribly wrong.
One,
you know, on the internet, you get reminded of everything, right? You're dead. It's over, finished, right? But oh man, I forgot the question I was going to ask, right? So Berta, great signing. You said you're very happy with it as well. Suppose this summer he just goes left field, right? Brings in about 4 or 5 names that you just never really heard of. You know them. So, do you trust him?
Well, his credentials. No, but the thing is, his credentials say that you do have to trust him.
No, do you trust him? Do you trust that? If he brings in like 4 names, no Gyökeres is somebody else. No. Nico Williams is somebody else. It's no Zubimendi is someone. It's like 4 names that you're like, who are they?
I'll tell you why I will. I'll tell you why I will, because all I can go by is evidence. I didn't know who Rodri was, but he did when he was at Villarreal. He bought him at Atletico Madrid, right? He knew who Diogo Jota was before Wolves and Liverpool got near him. He knew who Mateus Cunha was before Wolves, now he's killing it. So for me, he's absolutely got credentials to pick some gems. Now, we always highlight the positive ones. There's clearly been some misses as well that he's bought in at Atletico Madrid. Yeah, João Felix. There's been a couple of other names as well.
Listen, nobody would have thought João Felix would
No,
have bombed
when he
like
signed
that,
him-
when he signed him, he was the most exciting player in the world, wasn't he?
He was, right? So, and again, you've got to look at how he got him there. So he obviously has tempted a player of that quality at the time to come into that project. So I would have faith in it. What I will say is, I actually think, I spoke to Chris Hudson about this and he's spot on. I think if he brought in 3 players that we'd all heard of and 2 gems, I'd be excited for the 2 gems as much as I would those 3, just because of what he's done previously. Now, it could turn out rubbish, right? We've done it before ourselves. Mikel Arteta and Edu have done it with Fabi Vieira, with Lokonga, with Tavares, and the list goes on. So we absolutely will get some wrong. But I think if he comes in and he gets the mainstays right, and those 3-4 players that he brings in that come into our first 11 are the ones that needed, I'll be excited.
Okay, listen, to big up to the guys who are up there at Goodison right now, Cecil, Lee, the rest of the crew, they're all there. James is up there as well, right? Me and James have swapped places for today because I've got to do this event later. This event is, let me just get the address of this event, right? Because I mentioned it earlier on and wasn't able to read out exactly where it's at Pottersfield Park, which is right next to Tower Bridge. It's an event being put on by Bet365, and it's the Champions League trophy, UEFA Champions League trophy is going to be there. Sol Campbell's going to be there. I'm there also, and like it's all about building up the hype for that Arsenal Real Madrid game. Am I telling them first? They're playing us at our place, right? So that's why I'm in the studio today, because got to get over there for around about 5 o'clock, and I would never have made it from, unless I had a helicopter or something. And even then, you'd be struggling to make it. So that's why I'm in the studio today. But listen, it's great to be in the studio. But those guys going to be very lucky to be up there for the last game at Goodison Park. Let me just remind you once again of the Arsenal starting 11 that's going to play in this game, 12:30 today. It's David Raya in goal. Ben White is back at right back. Saliba and Jakob Kivior. Miles Lewis-Skelly, Jorginho, Marino and Declan Rice. And up front is Ethan Nwaneri, Raheem Sterling and Leandro Trossard. Trossard didn't play the other night. Sterling, those 3 actually, none of the 3 of them started the other night, so they should be fresh. And remember, Everton's game was the day after, wasn't it? So substitutes: Neto, Timber, Tierney, Zinchenko, Partey, Gower, Odegaard, Saka and Martinelli, right? Expect to see a few of those come off the bench later on in the game, particularly Saka. But that is the starting 11 for the game today. Let's get some predictions. Let's start with you, Laurie.
I'm going 2-1 to Arsenal. As I said, Everton, they don't score a lot of goals. And I think Arsenal have enough to get a win
They put
today.
2 past that Everton defence. It's a solid defence of Branthwaite, Tarkowski, you know what I mean, Pickford in goal. They don't concede a lot.
They don't.
They're very
They don't.
mean at the back.
But I do think that on their day, we do have the talent to get a couple of goals. So, yeah, I'm backing them to get the win today.
Yeah, I'm going to be quietly confident about this one, but I don't think it's high scoring. I'm going 1-0 to the Arsenal. Old school. I think we'll get the 1. I think we will break it down, but they will sit in a low block and make it difficult for us. But I'll be confident, man. 1-0.
1-0. I was going 1-1 yesterday, but the closer we get to the game, listen, I want to see a couple of these players, maybe the refreshing of the sort of front line and players coming in. I'm hoping that that's going to give them something. Let me go 2-1 to Arsenal. We've got a good away record. Let's go 2-1 to Arsenal.
I reckon 1 year in Sterling. 1 year in Sterling to get a couple of goals today.
Okay, let's hope so. Clara Pizzi finally says, question for Dan, got a super chat. Who do you trust more? Andrea Berta, right? Or the transfer rumours reported on AFTV Transfer Daily?
I love that, man. I've got to go with my
She
guy
is
here,
cheeky. Yeah, got back there. Hey, what's wrong with you, man? And as you just said there, Clara, they are rumours, yeah? They're not definitive things. They are rumours, and it will be. But what do you make it? Just before we go there, do you make it this crazy transfer window this year? Because the transfer window is going to open at the start of June for 2 weeks, then close, so that they can play the World Club Cup. Then after that is finished, it opens again. It's crazy.
What? Just open it after the Club World Cup then?
Yeah, because they're saying what they're saying is if it's open the whole time, it's not fair on City and Chelsea and Bayern and Real Madrid, all those teams that are in it.
What are we opening it 2 weeks before it for then?
So that you can get deals done.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
It sounds weird, but it does kind of make sense. And let's be honest, a lot of the stuff will still be going on behind the scenes anyway.
Yeah,
so.
but it does upend it, because what if you want to buy a player from Real Madrid, but they're in that
wait
tournament?
until after that tournament's finished, pretty much. Oh my word, I didn't know that. That's mad. That's mad.
Yeah. And our knackered, we've been talking about all the hamstrings and that. I mean, there's a lot of football going to be played. But listen, that's a problem to look at when we get to that. It's all on the game today. We've got the watch along coming up. I'm on it. Dan Turkish, Laurie's in the building, right? Looking forward to that, right? It's a big game today. Arsenal visiting Goodison for the very last time. This old ground, right? If you've never been there, it's an iconic ground. The terraces look like this. They're made out of wood, right? I'll tell you, you've never been to a stadium like it. And after today, every Arsenal fan, that's it. We never go to it again, because they're getting rid of it and they're moving into their shiny new stadium
Isn't
next
that a
year.
fire risk?
The terraces are wood.
Really?
I guess it is a fire risk, but the terraces are made out, when you walk up there, they're made out of wood. There's no stadium like it, right? So, but it's the last game there, right? So those guys will be up there. Look out for the fan cams after the game. We'll be doing some in the studio. They'll be doing some there. And also, just one more reminder again, the big event with Bet365 later at Pottersfield Park. I'll be down there with Sol Campbell, and the UEFA Champions League trophy will be there. And of course, don't forget on Tuesday, big watch party is going to be taking place at the Box Park in Shoreditch. Get down there. We're going to be hopefully roaring on the team to a big win, as we're hopefully going to do today. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back soon with a watch along. We have a very exciting opportunity for you Gooners. Bet365, the official global partner of the UEFA Champions League, are hosting a massive event this Saturday at Pottersfield Park near Tower Bridge, where you have the chance to bag yourself tickets for either Arsenal versus Real Madrid next week, or Aston Villa versus PSG on the 15th of April in the UEFA Champions League quarter-final.
Bet365 will be hosting a physical version of their big ticket giveaway competition from 4 p.m. on Saturday,
which will include an appearance by club legend Sol Campbell and the famous UEFA Champions League trophy.
So all you need to do is head down to Tower Bridge, give a game a go, 25 and over only, and ID verification is required.
This promotion is available on a limited first-come, first-served basis and closes at earliest 8 p.m. on the 5th of April, or when the promoter announces that all prizes have been claimed.
Take part and guess all 4 probabilities correctly for a chance to win 1 of 6 pairs of tickets to selected UEFA Champions League quarter-final UK matches.
Prizes are non-transferable. You've got to be 18 plus for photographs with the UEFA Champions League trophy, and full terms and conditions apply, and you must gamble responsibly.